So when people ask, like, why don't we just buy out a manufacturer down here? Why don't we set up our own little shop? A lot of times, to an extent, why don't we just deal directly with these manufacturers as brand owners? What we found out is that these producers don't want to deal with us, the gringos. In years past, brand owners, company owners tried to outsource manufacturing to places like this because they assumed that labor was inexpensive, and because of location it would be inexpensive to import goods to the U.S. Well, what would happen is gringos, by that I mean U.S. citizens, would come down here and flash some money and get everybody all excited. They'd start production on something at too low of a price because they'd get excited about this long-term relationship and all the money. So they would really underbid what they were producing. And then they would have to ramp up their production ability. So they'd buy more equipment, move into a bigger shop, hire more employees. And then when that order was done, they might have 6 months of nothing to do. And then they've spent so much capital and created so much more overhead to ramp up for those orders that it really hurt them long term, and they didn't profit on that big order like they thought they would. So in the past maybe 5 years, there's been almost a backlash about working directly for gringos. And when we started setting up our company, Hickory Flats Central America, we talked to a lot of business owners here, a lot of factory owners here, a lot of import-export people, and we determined that the best way to set this up would be to have a local presence that managed the relationships with the producers, with the suppliers, with the artisans. And even then we run into some problems. So we would come down with clients for a big leather brand that's launching, and we would go meet with these producers, and they would, love to talk to us. The brand owners from the US would be here. And then we'd actually go to try to start producing samples. They didn't really want to work with us because they didn't understand that we were serious about taking care of them too. And nobody's ever done that for them. So one thing that we've really focused on is I put a director in place here, and I gave her complete authority over pricing. I said, when you're working on negotiations between a brand owner in the U.S. and a manufacturer down here, I said, if the brand owner in the U.S. wants to beat up the pricing too bad and get to an unreasonable level, we tell them no. We absolutely just cut it off right there, because we would have the ability to beat these guys down on pricing to the point where they're not profitable and they run into these same problems. And for us to build relationships and build respect and build the business that we're trying to help make connections to, we need to make sure that we're protecting these guys. So to make this work, we have to play mediator between the brand owners and the manufacturers. And we've just determined and figured out that, like, the reason you can't come in and buy a company down here or buy a manufacturing facility, they don't want to work for us. They want to work for themselves. And the only way that we've made this work to this point, connecting the brand owners to the manufacturers, is that we specifically have a mediator in place that is Guatemalan, that is Central American. We have a registered company here to make that transaction possible. Otherwise, these guys wouldn't even talk to us. Alright, so these big ugly pig legs here with the hoofs and all, I was first introduced to those in Spain. Jamón ibérico is what it's called. And in the US, we're scared of meat that's not cooked, but this meat has been preserved. It's been dry aged, preserved in salt. My understanding is it's how they would package meat when the Spanish were coming across the Atlantic to come to a place like this. So Christopher Columbus was eating this. You cannot get it in the US. In the US, the FDA does not allow the import of it because it's not cooked meat. Perfectly safe. This is my favorite meat in the world. They slice it so thin you can see right through it, but it is very Spanish. So this is something that comes from the Spanish culture. It's similar to like some different Italian meats. It's similar to like Serrano, but jamón ibérico. And for some reason, last time I was in Guatemala, I bought one of these whole hands and I put it in my luggage and tried to sneak it into the US, and I actually made it. But TSA definitely searched my bag because in the x-ray they saw like the femur of a pig. But yeah, this is one of the treats that I find in Guatemala, is I can get the Spanish food like this jamón.